Hi, my name is Peyton Maisel, and I'm a clinical intern and music therapist at Wisdom Within Counseling. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD. So PTSD can look really different for all different people. There's a lot of different symptoms that come along with it, a lot of different, experiences that can happen that might bring on the diagnosis of PTSD and the symptoms that go along with it. What's really common for PTSD is a cycle of anxiety and depression that kind of comes along with it. Some people might experience panic attacks, racing thoughts, some, fearful thoughts, that kind of thing. Maybe low mood, struggle with motivation, kind of going in and out of depressive episodes as well. These symptoms can also come about when being triggered. That's a term that's used with PTSD. People can develop triggers that are in relation to the trauma that they've experienced. There may be a certain event, trauma anniversaries, time of year, even certain sounds and smells that may trigger a trauma response for people, and that can bring on some of these different symptoms as well. Dissociation can also come along with PTSD. That's really feeling out of body, having a hard time connecting our mind and body together. Being sensitive to noises and sounds, like I mentioned before, which can be called hypervigilance as well. And there also are, a lot of different experiences that can happen that might cause, trauma for people and the diagnosis of PTSD. This can be a single event, and then it can also be a variety of different events happening throughout a lifetime, which that is called complex PTSD. And this might include experiencing any type of abuse in childhood, sexual assault, just really struggling with having our needs met when we're younger, our emotional needs, maybe having a parent that struggled with mental health or substance use, maybe wasn't able to be as present as we needed. Those types of things are events that might cause a more kind of long-term effect called complex PTSD, and all of these symptoms can come about from that as well. Trauma can also cause a stress response, and that is called, we have fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Fight and flight are pretty well known, one of those that we kind of are taught and learn about when we're younger, but there's also stress responses called freeze and fawn as well. So fight is when we're really feeling, when we're triggered, our stress response goes up. We may, get into some verbal arguments, may get physical, really just up on the defense, really wanting to stick up for ourselves. And then flight is feeling a little more anxious, kind of backing away from the situation, feeling like needing to separate from it when feeling triggered. And then we have freeze, which is really just when a trigger happens, just feeling very stuck, not sure what to do, frozen in the moment. Dissociation can happen within that as well, where we're kind of disconnecting from our surroundings, struggling with that mind-body connection. And then the last stress response is called fawn. And this can really look like a lot of people pleasing, struggling with maybe abandoned stuff, and just wanting to please others in order to feel okay and not struggle with that feeling of abandonment, feeling like that stuff might happen. So people pleasing can kind of come out of that, which is a trauma response, and that can stem from experiences that have happened in childhood as well, kind of going with that complex PTSD like I mentioned before. With that also, we all as humans develop different attachment styles, and that is kind of comes about from what we've experienced in childhood, the relationships that we've had, the environments that we've been in, and then these kind of stem into as we become adults and in our adult relationships as well. So one attachment style is anxious attachment, which kind of goes with that fawn stress response of just experiencing anxiety, fearful of abandonment. So we're really anxious in our relationships, just wanting the person to be there no matter what, really wanting to please them. And that can cause some of those types of struggles. Another one is avoidant attachment, which is kind of the opposite, where we're really just disconnected from people, struggling to form those close relationships, struggling with trust. And these can stem from any experiences in childhood and growing up, which then might in turn affect some of our relationships as we get older as well. And The thing with trauma is it's really important to have a space to be able to process these experiences, and that's where therapy comes in. And at Wisdom Within Counseling, we use a lot of different therapeutic approaches, holistic approaches, creative arts, and expressive approaches in relation to trauma and PTSD to be able to kind of become more aware of the symptoms, identify triggers, be able to develop coping skills, and move through the process of processing the trauma that's been experienced and moving forward and healing and kind of figuring out what to do that might make some of these symptoms feel a little bit more manageable. At Wisdom Within Counseling, all of our clinicians really practice from a holistic approach. So we're taking that mind-body approach and connection, knowing how important that is, and knowing that trauma can cause a struggle within having that mind-body connection. So we use a lot of meditation, yoga, sound ball healing, which just really helps us connect with our mind and body, and doing this step by step in ways that feel comfortable, integrating it in to help with that connection, to help us be in our bodies and to cope with some of these other symptoms like the depressive symptoms, anxiety, panic attacks, dissociation, and all that kind of stuff. We also use a lot of creative and expressive arts approaches, whether that's through music, drama. Like I mentioned, I'm a board certified music therapist. We have a drama therapist at Wisdom Within Counseling, and we also, the owner is certified in yoga therapy as well. But we use a lot of different art modalities, whether that's music, whether that's writing and doing any type of drama therapy. We have a whole art closet with a lot of different art modalities, drawing, painting. We also are right down this road from the boardwalk in Niantic, so we'll really spend a lot of time outside, going on walks, being in nature. That also is providing a sense of grounding as well, using all of our senses and using coping skills for those as well, which can help with a sense of grounding and processing with trauma as well. So we offer all of this at Wisdom Within Counseling, and we're here for you to be able to process your trauma and work through it and work through some of these symptoms and develop coping skills that can help you manage those symptoms and get through your day-to-day and functioning as well. You can book a free phone consult through Wisdom Within Counseling at www.wisdomwithinct.com.